I can create coils from clay to fill an outline of a heart. All right, we are going to make our coil heart. First thing we're going to do is we are going to make sure our clay is nicely kneaded. The more we play with it, the more we're going to wear it out, and it's going to become crumbly clay and it's not going to work as well. But we are going to roll this into, some kids call these snakes, but they're actually called coils, C-O-I-L, coil. And we're going to make a long coil because we are going to trace around the heart right here. We are going to follow that as our lead. So you can see I'm just pushing. Sometimes it's easier to stand up to roll the clay when you want it really long. So I am going to take this and I'm going to start down here, bring it up and around and around and around. I'm going to have to fix a little bit more clay onto it. So if I have to do some work like this, I need to smush it together and make it look like it's been together all along. Same thing down here, I need to get them to fit together. So here is my heart outline, and now we're going to fill it. We are going to continue to roll coils, but we're going to make them smaller. And by smaller, I mean the length is not going to be as long as this because we're not going around the entire heart. We're going to take them and we are going to roll them up. They're going to kind of look like little snails. And we're going to place them inside of our heart. And we're going to continue to do that and place them inside of the heart. You want a variety of sizes, small, medium, large. And if you were drawing this, this would be the never-ending E, the swirl that is the never-ending E. So again, the goal is to fill the whole interior of it with coils. If I took this and made a real small one, it's not going to work really well, but I can try it. It's probably going to get flattened, and I'll show you why in just a second here. I can almost make like an oblong one to stick it in that area, make it a little bit longer than. There we go. The nice part about clay is it can be manipulated and moved and turned, so I'm going to stick that one in there. I'm going to keep my heart looking like a heart. And what I'm going to end up doing is all these voids, these empty spots, I'm going to have to stick clay in there because otherwise it's just going to fall apart. It's not going to work. Here's the finished product that we're trying to work at, and you can see how it's nice and smooth on the back. So I can't do that with these gaping holes, so what I need to do is I need to create little circular balls of clay, and I'm going to stick them in there, and then I'm just going to push down with my thumb and push it. Now I can't use the same size in these other areas. Sometimes I like to make them pointy and then stick it down in there and then push on the circle. So it's almost like a little triangle that I'm sticking in there. Now this is going to be a bigger triangle, so I'm going to go ahead and make like a larger wedge, put it in there, and then push down on it. So again, what we're trying to do is close that all up. Now what we want to do is we want to flip this over. This is the front of our project. This obviously is the back. On the back, I'm going to smooth out all those lines. I have to make them all disappear. If I don't do that, the pieces will fall out when it is fired. And this, nobody's going to magically put these together for you. You have to smooth them out on your own. Be careful not to get any air trapped in there. Take your time. It's not a race. You want it to look good and smooth on the back. Anything that is left kind of crumbly or jagged will, when it is fired, will end up to be a sharp edge that could potentially hurt you. So let's be really careful with that. Now, I have not pushed it into the paper, so it won't be stuck on the paper. I can go ahead and reshape my heart if I need to. I'm going to pull it over, and there's my finished piece. When you are through, the teacher's going to come over and put 2 holes in here with the straw, just like this. I'm keeping it away from the edge because if it's too close to the edge, it'll make the clay more susceptible to breaking. This is something you're going to be able to put string or twine or yarn in to hang it up from. Once you finish and your name and class code is on the back, we're going to take this into the back room and put it in a special place to let it dry flat, otherwise it'll be all curled up. Take this and either throw it away if it's got a hole in it or put it back on the table so another student can use it, because we can use these for quite some time. I'm gonna start by turning it in, making the letter E and continuing to roll it. And then I would place it down. Make them different lengths so that they look different. They don't have the same number of curls. So here's another one, it's a little bit bigger. Again, this is just too thin. All right, now we're gonna walk back here to the kiln room. That's what these are. These are called kilns. They get very hot. It gets over 1,000 degrees in here. And what happens is we cook them. Once we cook them, they turn into glass. I stack them on top of each other like this, and then I pull them out. And our next step is to add color. Now that we're all done, we are going to use crayon to color this. If I just do it real lightly, it's not gonna work. But if I push really hard and I create a nice solid orange, sometimes I'm gonna fall off, and that's okay. It's gonna work really well. What we're gonna be doing is a watercolor crayon resist. So you wanna make sure you decorate the front side of it. Because if you hang it on the wall, you're gonna see the side. You're not gonna see the back, so don't add color to the back of it. So I like to use bright, vibrant colors, oranges. There is a blue that sometimes just looks beautiful on here. Yeah, here it is. It's kind of like a turquoise blue. And again, anywhere that I don't put crayon, when I do my paint on here, it's going to stick there. So if I left this all, it would be all covered in paint, and we don't want that to happen. The paint looks really cool when it comes in and goes in the curls. And you don't want all your curls the same color because it's not gonna look very unique. You want each one to be a little bit different. Could I use this color somewhere else? Sure, I could use it over here because I've got this swirl in between those. Coloring on ceramics is not easy, so that was the biggest reason you really wanted to have this all smoothed out, because if it wasn't all smoothed out, friends, what would happen is when you went to do this, you could potentially push too hard and break it. We're gonna play pretend that I'm all done because it's gonna take me forever, and I'm gonna go get some watercolor on here and show you what you're gonna do. So the color that we use is black, and we're going to be using black to really help highlight our pieces. So I'm going to get it wet a little bit because it just makes it a little bit easier. I'm just going to get this area wet over here, and I'm going to get this black wet. I've got water on my paintbrush, and I'm going around and around on the paint, picking up the pigment because I want it pretty rich and pretty dark. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint it in there. I've got to jump around because the cracks and the crevices need to be all filled in. And you can see how cool it's going to look. And you really see how that turquoise pops. If you use darker colors, they don't pop as well, but you can see how the orange is popping. And again, it's called a watercolor crayon resist. If I feel like, oh no, it's got too much on there, I can take it and dab it off too. So there you go. Once we're done, you're gonna get to take them home.